Yo, what's going on, everyone? Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
How you doing, everybody?
It's been a little while, Jim.
Yeah, we kind of doubled up when we did the last Power Hour with just us and then the one with Travis. And we do have more guests lined up. I'm doing a little work on the back end, but us and scheduling, things happen. But, so we are actually doing this for the first time in like a month. A little behind on some news.
Yeah, some things will seem a little dated, but I know you guys have been waiting with bated breath.
Brian, how about ProJared?
You know, Jim,
Stumped him.
There's so many things. Maybe we will get to your buddy. I don't know.
We're going to get to James Charles, too? Go through all of them?
All right, that's outside my... I've seen the things in the news. I have zero idea what...
Brian, we got to join this community. It's the hotbed.
We're not going to become a YouTube
hotbed.
Drama. We're not Keemstar.
Could be. We could call ourselves Drinkstar.
What goddamn beer did you bring today?
Well, Brian, I brought us the Powder Dreams.
Powder.
All right, so when I was buying this, I'm in the store, and I put it up to sell, and, like, the store's about to close. It's late. And the guy just comes over and starts going, powder. And I'm like, what? He's like, powder. So he just kind of keeps saying it. I'm like, you have to level with me. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, say it, Frenchie, powder. I was like, oh, like Simpsons bit. Okay, I like old Simpsons. So I'm trying to make small talk with the guy, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I got a kid. I get to watch Simpsons now until the wife goes nuts and blah, 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 blah. And without, like, responding, he just goes, powder. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go now. I'm out.
Jim has a very interesting track record, and maybe we'll get into our story about meeting people on trains and just general people that like to talk to. He's got a very, I guess, talkable face.
It just, I don't know a situation where I'm suddenly like the normal sociable one. Because I'm awkward as fuck. So, how dare.
You attract it, Jim.
I bring it on myself, apparently. So, it comes to us from the Captain Lawrence Brewing Company. It's dry hopped with Amarillo lupulin powder. Is this that word I can never say? Or is that one of the other ones?
Lupulin?
Lupulin? And citrus hops. Comes in at a respectable 7.5% alcohol by volume. Good old IPA. And it comes to us from Elmsford, New York.
Yeah.
I have no idea where that is.
I've heard of Captain Lawrence. They're pretty well known, especially for their IPAs. Definitely never had this one, so.
$25 for a 4-pack.
Why would you do that?
Because I wanted to fancy my game up. So I can also bitch that for the price of 4 beers, I could get a case and a half of my precious Keystone and be the life of the party.
I mean, Jim, I'm amazed that since starting this site, you absolutely hated IPAs.
Yes.
Now you're becoming, I don't want to say IPA snob, but you seem to go towards them so much. And the fact that you'd be willing to spend $25 on just regular ass IPA.
On a chance?
Yeah, it's a bit shocking, Jim.
Well, it's either that or I come over with some leftover Coors Lights and then you bitch at me. I'm a man of extremes, Brian.
That you are, Jim. I mean, would it kill you for just a nice barrel-aged stout or a porter?
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring a Hefeweizen next time.
That would be better.
But as you can see, nice little piss coloring in here. Slightly cloudy.
It's very cloudy.
Not really a lot of head.
No, it's foamy.
Very minimal lacing.
Lacing's pretty good. Well, it's actually a decent amount of lacing, Jim.
Well, I don't know. Maybe with the way I pour. According to the Brits, I pour wrong, so.
Well, yeah, of course you do.
Well, I get to my beer without all that foamy crap. See, this is what happens when you leave the European Union. You have to drink foam all the time. You get everything cut.
Jim, we have a big UK following.
This is why they don't deserve helium, so they can't have it in their beer. Whatever they were short on last, 15 podcasts ago.
I'm going to smack the shit out of you.
Throwbacks.
Goddamn Frenchie. We're not followed by French. France,
Yeah, we're not followed by women either. Don't have to worry about that. 0.03%.
We got those 20 or 30.
The 20 or 30 views ever.
Listen, don't worry.
YouTube stats are a funny thing.
Don't worry, Jim. I got that covered.
Yeah, I know. I swear, if that actually goes up because of the man bun, I'm just going to kill myself.
I am from this point forward known as Samurai Brian. Thank you, Travis.
Yes, thank you, Travis.
So from now on, you can refer to me as that, Jim. So what do we got from Patreon?
All right, so these questions are actually coming to us from the podcast with Travis because I put them up late, and then I'd forgotten to do the ones for this one. So for the next podcast, we can double up. That's fine.
I'm shocked.
Shocking, I know. But, so, first one comes from good old Dean, Game Whisperer. If you owned a game-themed restaurant and your signature dish was named after a game, console manufacturer, etc., what would you serve? For example, Sega sausages.
Huh. So, but are we supposed to pick a specific game or do more?
You can probably do whatever
just
you
any
want.
whatever?
You can pull it out your ass.
Huh. I wish I would have seen this question because I could have been more clever.
I've got one.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go with Metroid Munchkins, where you get little donut hole munchkins like from Dunkin' Donuts, but you shape them and color them to look like a Metroid.
All right.
How about that?
You're taking it to a next step. I'm going to say... I'm just going to kind of steal your idea.
Oh, great.
Make it a little better. Just Pac-Man donuts. Just cut the shape out of the side of it. Color of yellow.
Why don't you just get a pizza and take out one slice?
Hey, it's a good idea.
Genius.
Pac-Man pizza. There you go.
There you go.
That's probably definitely a thing.
Speaking of doubling up, I'll double up the goddamn answer on this shit.
I just know I wanted to do... I would turn into a drink where I was trying to think a way to make it food, but I wanted to do the Castlevania song Bloody Tears.
Yeah.
But I'm like, food? It'd be like a steak that's rare? I don't know.
Yeah, prime rib, extra rare.
Pac-Man pizza. It's a winner. I win.
Yeah, congratulations. And next up is from Gamer Astral. Thoughts on the future of gaming and collecting 5 years from now?
True. I know we covered this a couple times, but basically...
It always seems to work its way in.
Digital heavy, I think. The consoles that still will... I mean, you're always going to have Nintendo doing some form of hardware, but I think you're going to see a lot more just digital heavy between if the Google thing ever takes off, the Xbox thing we were saying, that's, specific just for streaming their Xbox arcade shit. I'm sure PlayStation will come out a version for that. As far as collecting, it's going to be tough to say, but maybe you finally start seeing a bigger push towards collecting for PlayStation 2 generation by that point.
For PlayStation 2, yeah, because you're finally seeing, PlayStation 1's getting pretty big now for collecting.
So that's why it's like, man, what console would there never be? I don't know, because GameCube, there's already good enough collection.
You almost can't never say never with these consoles or something that's come out. But
yeah, I think PlayStation 2, I mean, we've talked about this how many times, but what does it have, 1,800 games? Or
no, 7,000.
Yeah. So that'll be one of those freakish ones where you're never going to, I mean, the people that would have a complete collection.
It's going to be those shitty shovelware titles that everyone passed by that's going to be the one.
It'll be like, oh my God.
Right now, it's the games that people kind of want but are rare, like the Rule of Roses of the world that, people will spend the big money on.
Yeah.
But eventually it's going to be some, whatever that shitty Snow White and the 7 Angry Men game was. Crap like that. That'll be what becomes expensive 5 years from now.
Good thing we keep getting our stuff from Goodwill, huh?
Yeah, right?
Oh, man, I have a whole boatload that I got to put on Instagram. It'll probably piss you off because there's some good titles in there.
Probably. I haven't seen anything in Goodwill that hasn't been DDR in ages.
And as a little pro tip, and since I don't think too many of our fans live near me, I'm going to throw it out there. I tell Jim all the time, go to the library.
Oh, yeah, you do.
$1 for games, and I sent Jim. Some of them are really good, and I just pulled another haul from there. They keep updating them. Dude, $1. And
I got to get a card.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth it. So go to your library.
Support your local libraries, kids. Give a hoot. Read a book.
God damn it, Jim. So that will be the state. Collecting from libraries. There's my prediction.
You just made Louis Hackett happy. He's always hoping for a slap. That was this weekend's comment.
I might have to do a face one. You're owed.
For what?
Enough.
What the shit in hell did I do?
Enough.
God damn it. But yeah, libraries. It's a good tip.
I think in 5 years, Jim will finally own some more decent games that he won't play. And I'm trying to decide which shitty console. He'll all of a sudden be like the Amiga CD. Be like, I got a deal on this, and now it's the greatest system ever.
Hey, I'm still hoping to find the lucky Goodwill 3DO. That's what I would love to get.
No, I know what you're hunting for. And it will piss me off to no end when you finally decide to settle down and get Vectrex. I know you will. That's not even a question. It's so stupid of a console that I know.
Stupidly amazing. Just can Limited Run please put out like a Vectrex collection on the Switch, just so I don't have to buy the damn console.
And here's my other prediction: Jim, by that point, will have mostly dropped his love for TurboGrafx. So I think his library expands by 10 more games tops.
For the Turbo?
Yep.
See, my Turbo collecting's always been kind of slow anyway.
Exactly. And you know it's not that good of a console.
No, it's an amazing console.
And when I just start
it's not just good, it's great.
When we review games and I just force you to emulate and piss you off.
Nope.
That's all that's going to happen, Jim.
No, it's why I have the engine block and the HD Retrovision cables. So I can get RGB quality video.
So good question. But yeah, I think it's kind of inevitable.
It will be funny to see what consoles actually have physical media in 5 years too, for like the way like Switch collecting all of a sudden just became huge this generation.
Pisses me off already.
Why?
I'm cool if you're collecting for the Switch for its first party titles.
All right.
We've been over this. No matter how much you love the Switch, especially I'm seeing people who are collecting for it hard who have the other two systems.
Oh yeah.
And you know it's better on the other two systems. Put aside the convenience. Like, why would you re-waste your money, especially when it's people who buy the same game multiple times over? The part of me that you can't help it, then you're becoming a forced shelf collector.
I think with the Switch it's kind of weird because it's almost like the fact that it is somewhat a cartridge-based system.
It is.
I think it has that feeling to it where it's like a thing worth really collecting and showing off for.
And
it's like I've seen it say like people on Twitter, especially.
Yeah, that's
like
what I'm saying.
you see like people going like, "Oh, physical Switch game number 276." I'm like, dude,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I have like 25 Switch games, and I think that's too many right now.
And you play 2,
But
maybe 3.
How dare you, sir?
You have another copy of Bloodstain, yeah.
I only need my one copy, even though there's a new Bloodstain coming out, which I can't wait for.
God damn it, Jim.
It's good, Bri. You'd like it.
I know, Jim. You don't have to tell me. It's just a copy of Castlevania.
Let's get the goddamn game, Bri.
I have it for free from Xbox.
Well, play it.
I will.
Good, do it.
I'll actually beat it before you will.
Probably.
Exactly.
I'm on the last level.
Which means you're never beating it.
I'm on the last level. I'll beat the damn shit.
Jim, you're good at games era. End it with the N64.
It's not wrong.
Since then, you've been okay.
Hey, I beat Army of Two by myself on hardcore mode.
Oh, good.
I beat Fallout New Vegas on hardcore. I can at least go to the 360.
Fallout New Vegas hardcore isn't hard. It's just micromanagement up the ass.
That's goddamn right it is.
So good question. Any more for us?
No, that's it for now. So any one of our patrons watching, if you got questions, double up for the next podcast. I'll put a post up for you to drop them in there.
And as always, we really appreciate you guys supporting us. We still are trying to figure out some things for some of the bigger tiers and working on some potential merchandise. So a lot of things up in the air.
Merchandising.
That's right. So thank you guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll probably try and get another little thing up for patrons only sometime this month. What?
Sounds like your Saturday night. Always trying to get a little thing.
Probably getting it up is not the problem. Keeping it up, that's the problem.
Get
Am
it,
I
Jim?
right?
Get it? Get it? It's a cock. All right, moving on.
Beat the same dead horse.
So, from breweries in PA, we have that Weyerbacher, one of our, definitely
Favorites.
one of my top 5 favorite. It files Chapter 11 and announces a new ownership.
Yeah.
For anyone who knows anything about financing, filing Chapter 11 doesn't always mean like the worst in the world.
It's kind of like a cop-out for debt.
Yeah, it's like a restructuring. It's like, well, we're not paying back some of our shit.
Yeah.
But we're broke.
Get fucked, banks.
Yeah. What I haven't seen was who is it that took over it?
I don't think
private investment group. Basically, so it's not like a merger between them and a larger brewery, which may be another topic in a second.
Foreshadowing.
But basically, a holdings investment group is just kind of, I guess, bolstering Weyerbacher as they go through this restructuring.
It's just funny to see because Weyerbacher, at least in our Philly area, like it's in every single place.
Let's see, PA, I'd say your top is Yingling. as far as money makers.
Yeah.
Yingling, then probably Yards.
Victory probably up there.
Victory's near there, but Weyerbacher, man, they're pretty fucking well known.
Trogue's probably up there, but yeah, Weyerbacher's probably like a top 5.
So I don't know if it's just a matter of Weyerbacher. Maybe they have a lot of tap rooms. Maybe they're overextending themselves.
That's what I think it might be, because they really are. They distribute everywhere.
Yeah. So maybe they should just pull back, keep it more towards East Coast. Sorry, West Coast people. I'd love for you guys to try Weyerbacher, but
I just love the fact that to them, Yingling is like a not imported, but like an East Coast craft beer.
Technically it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll follow this because we love Weyerbacher. Really suck. I've said multiple times, if you're from the PA or wherever you are, if you're able to get it, they have some of the tastiest, strongest beers you're gonna have. And I've never been disappointed in a while. Like, you're never gonna see a weak beer from them. Their weakest is maybe 6%.
Yeah,
5.
but they're all drinkable too.
Yeah, they're all hearty, and the styles they do are more traditional European, like Belgian styles. So, just a lot more character. I really hope they never go completely under, because that would suck a dick.
Yep.
All right, so the next one. Did we post on Twitter? We've posted a few places, and I'm sure since the news of this has come out, you've all seen. But basically, Sam Adams and Dogfish Head have decided to merge. That's the interesting thing.
One definitely didn't buy out the other and keep the name. That sure as hell is what happened.
So,
call me a conspiracy theorist.
A lot of people are saying it just how you did, and for good reason. Now, on one hand, the guy and Sam Calignione, I always fuck up his name.
Caligula?
Damn it, Jim. And Jim Koch, who owns Sam Adams. Sam Adams basically did an influx of $300 million towards Dogfish Head, but Sam, the owner of Dogfish Head, now owns like some crazy amount of stock in Sam Adams. Wow. So it's like, I think it is a better checks and balances of not worrying about like, you're not going to see Sam Adams presents 120-minute IPA or 90-minute IPA. Just like Southern Tier was bought up and a bunch of those other more craft beers.
Well, I mean, a shitload were brought up by like Budweiser and stuff.
Yeah, so it'll still operate essentially the same. A lot of people are already worried. But here's the biggest problem I have with everyone bitching so much. At the end of the day, Sam Adams technically is still a craft brewer. We don't look at it like that because it's so friggin' well-known and so successful.
Right.
But it's a fucking craft brew.
Like we said before, like before the mid 2000s, Sam Adams just was craft beer. That was it.
Strictly, yeah. And after reading that book that I posted about the history of beer in America, it was actually a really good book. It talked about Sam Adams basically being that thing that like during the time when it was your top 3 brewers in America, that really stood out and helped separate and pave the way for all these craft breweries now. So it's funny people are going so shitty on them, which I don't get because they still make good beer.
Right. Would you call it the CM Punk of craft beer?
Maybe the Brock Lesnar.
It's really play.
Or the John Cena. No one appreciates. No one appreciates Cena. Everyone boos him, but he's a ticket sales.
Hey, I love me some Cena. I'm just talking in the sense of actually, CM Punk kind of led it to the worst because now we have all the indie guys being the top. You know what? Fuck them.
Yeah. So
good job in UFC, Phil.
Either way, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I'm kind of curious as to why they went ahead of doing it, and from what I'm reading, it wasn't like a situation where one was doing particularly worse than the others. I think, and we've talked about this, you're going to see the bubble burst with craft. Like right now, it's one of the highest emerging markets and kind of job things that like have been popping up across the country. Like the number went up by like some crazy 180% over the past like 10 years.
Oh yeah, new craft breweries come up left and right.
So the market's getting really saturated, which is going to be, people are going to go back to, I want simple because there's way too many goddamn choices. And maybe this is a way of like securing their foot and like, making sure they don't get flushed down the toilet with everyone else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's that bad of a thing. Now, I'll eat my
as long
words.
as they have a hands-off approach, who really cares? But it just really depends on how they're going to handle it.
Yeah.
At the very worst, it's just more distribution for Dogfish Head.
Yeah, so Either way, it's...
And at the worst, Sam Adams just, phases it out. Or he takes over the names of everything, like you said.
Yeah, but you know what? If Dogfish Head ever went out, like this guy, Sam, he's such an enthusiast of beers, he would turn around and just make a new one. Kind of like the Michael Scott Paper Company. See? Office.
Topical.
Jim,
just like every basic bitch with a Netflix account.
Did you say basic bitch?
Yes, I did. Or should I say, yes, queen?
No. We'll get to it in your topics for you, Jim's terrible decisions.
Yeah, I'm wondering where this one's coming from.
I have some responses you say.
Okay.
So if you guys did follow that or are upset about it or anything, have more insight than us, which you probably would, let us know what you think, why you would really hate it, or what you're worried about. All right. Next one. Jim, you put this up, and it's interesting for sure.
Been a while since I read it, unfortunately, but Army vet loses 44 pounds only drinking beer for Lent.
Lost. He was inspired by monks, Jim.
Thank you, Brian.
This comes to us from Fox News.
Thank you, you semantic cunt.
So, I like that. Good alliteration.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've actually covered some.
Wait, that wasn't alliteration.
I know.
God damn it! Hate that took me that long. Oh, thanks for the compliment. You never give compliments. I should have known better.
All right. So we've covered this before. There's been these weird fads where people are like, is drinking beer good for you? Can it help you lose weight? And at the end of the day, you can sustain yourself on beer. Usually it's got to be porter or something a little bit of the heavier stock, but they used to do that shit all the time way back when. We're talking 1700s when beer was being made, and especially the monks who would make that in Europe and especially Belgium. So this guy's like, he did it. Now, the thing I am interested in, he says, my health is so much better. My blood pressure, my cholesterol, everything has improved over what I was eating before. So the guy, he's an Army vet, so I'll be respectful, but didn't look the healthiest to begin with.
Yeah.
So
I've known some Army people who get out and just kind of, you're not doing drills anymore.
Yeah. So
Start to look like me.
It's basically
not worse. Because you tried before. That's what you all fucked up.
See, I'm not even going to say nothing, Jim.
You don't have to say it.
So, it's basically an elimination diet with just introducing this. And oddly enough, if you look at beer, it can have enough nutrients to support you. It's obviously not something I would ever recommend for long term. But
maybe supplement with some vitamins or something.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. Beer always, interestingly enough, gets the terrible, press because you're mixing it with a shitty diet, or you're overindulging, or you're puking and trying to piss down an icy alleyway and falling on your ass and hurting your tailbone. I mean, there's stories that can be told. All I'm saying is, if beer is taken at a reasonable amount on a daily basis, you're absolutely fine. Jim, are we going to do this challenge for you? You do a beer-only diet?
I wish.
Jim, think about how much you'd save in money. You just drink your Keystone. Well, that wouldn't have enough nutrients. You'd have to up your game.
Yeah, I'd be running low on... Then again, the body would just be eating itself to keep itself alive.
There you go. So, yeah, 46 days of not eating food. It's fascinating.
Yeah, well, apparently it says the first week was really bad, and then after that, he just kind of got acclimated to it, so...
Yeah, it's like there's people doing the keto shit, and it's... Your body adapts really well to whatever you're trying to do.
Keto's way too much work. This, you're just popping open cans.
That's right. So...
Fuck keto, drink. I think that's what the moral of the story is here.
Yeah, so kids out there...
Proven results.
You're trying to lose weight, go on a 46-day diet.
Yeah. No matter what your age. Just say it's for health reasons. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, come on. We're health advocates here.
Right.
All right, so this comes from our buddy Kit. Thank you, as always, bud. Favorite drinking games?
Yeah. Sorry. Kid in daycare, so every 2 weeks I'm sick. We tried to do this last week, but we couldn't schedule it, so...
Maybe if you just drank beer, you'd have a better immune system.
I might have all that yeast inside me to fight off other things.
And I'm not even going to take that bait.
That was an easy one. Could have done it. But yeah, favorite drinking games. So I'll keep this simple. I don't think there's any real better drinking game out there than just good old-fashioned beer pong.
That is...
Or Beirut, if you're a purist out there.
No, it's beer pong. Don't ever say that.
Beirut?
Yeah, don't say that. That is, to me, without doubt...
Flip Cup's up there. It gets a little messy.
Flip Cup is a little messy. Flip Cup also, yeah, like...
But you can also expand more on Flip Cup. Like, you can do the shit where people slide down a thing and then got to do that and then do jumping jacks and all the other... The accoutrement you can put on there.
I was actually more torn between saying beer pong or, like, just a simple card game. Asshole. Like, something that...
Asshole's classic.
Doesn't require you to, like, be outside. Or, like, you know, you could be inside with beer pong. But you know what I'm saying.
Right. Even a good old-fashioned Never Have I Ever.
Yeah.
People get way more truthful after a few rounds.
Never Have I Ever is good. That's what I'm trying to think. Like, what's the best... indoor, if you're not doing anything, not that's athletic, but sports related too. I hate the term athletic sports, tying it to beer.
It's like calling esports people athletes.
Yeah. So yeah, beer pong would definitely be my favorite. But if it's chill, Never Have I Ever, or what's the one? Oh, we always used to play it. Remember, it's like you would pick a topic. And you just, each of it, you'd be like, okay, like makes a cars. And you each go around.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
To the person.
Game of Things or something like that?
Yeah, something. It's blocking my memory, but essentially the premise is.
Years of drinking blocking the memory?
Yeah, basically. So it would be interesting to do it if we get big enough. Maybe we'll do it too many games.
Oh, that's true.
So if you're sitting in a group of people and you say, okay, Castlevania games. And you have to point, you say whatever your first one is and you point to someone. If they take too long or repeat the previous one, they drink.
Right.
Seems easy, but honestly, when you're put on the spot and you're like, you're going to repeat something.
You're going to choke and you're going to do something dumb.
Yeah, so that's fun and easy, but when you're really drunk, it's just everyone ends up drinking by the first pick. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
So yeah, I used to whoop Jim's ass in beer pong.
Oh, beer pong. Yeah.
Jim, should we tell him the story of Crossfire?
Why not? It's topical to the topic.
So,
with your bullshit and our friend John Gunn, who's a male Adonis, and everything he does, of course, has to be perfect.
Yeah, so we're playing.
So for whatever reason, we let these two cocksuckers get on the same team together in beer pong. So, of course, they run the table all goddamn night.
So
cocky sons of bitches they are.
So we get to a point we feel bad. We legit. We're like, all right, we've literally won 10 games in a row.
It's a nice way of saying bored.
And for those of you not familiar with beer pong, and depending on how you play or where you play,
or Beirut,
I'll never say that again. So you start with the triangle. Some people allow multiple fixes or one fix, which is just you reposition the cups depending how many you have left. So we were getting to a point where once again we would either first start with we're not doing any fixes wherever the cups are we weren't fixing, which is like, okay, that's bad enough. But then we would do this thing where we'd put the cups on each corner of the bar, and I think we even did it with a 4 and like basically made a giant square with a huge gap. And if I'm me and this is my buddy Gunn, we would shoot across from each other and call it Crossfire, and of course be really annoying and drunk saying Crossfire.
Of course.
And we would still win. And Jim, of course, in his fury.
What did I do this time?
You would always blame, like, I think Orloff was still here. You'd be like, God damn it, can't you make a cup?
Because he wouldn't make any.
Meanwhile, you'd make one and be like, I'm carrying this team.
Look, if I'm the one making all the cups here, it's a bad time.
So, yeah, beer pong, I think, lends itself to talking the most shit and just all around just having a good time. Unless you have a terrible partner, then you're not going to like that as much.
Yeah, it can get frustrating. But beer pong is also my choice.
Yeah. All right. So, Jim, actually, for our last beer topic.
A lot of beer topics this week.
From Rooters.
Yeah, Rooters.com.
Yeah. So, Guns and Ruses.
Ruses.
Guns and Ruses. Guns and Roses sues Colorado Brewery over the Guns and Rosé Ale. Yeah, this is one of those things that always seems to pop up with craft beer, and we talked about a long-ass time ago. But the interesting thing with the amount of names are out there and so many things being copywritten.
They get close. They all try to be clever.
They do. They all want to, like, you take your favorite movie, you take your this, you take your that, and you're doing what you can. But Guns and Rosé, that's, and obviously play on the band. It's kind of tough for me to defend it, but at the same time, I would be curious to see, and I'm seeing if this writes up how many they actually sold. Like, if they're not selling a ton, do you really need to sue these guys? Like, or could you just say a cease and desist?
I've never heard of the Oscar Blues Brewery, so it could be like they could have been a thing where it's like, oh, someone could have tweeted at Axl Rose and be like, oh, hey, check this out, and then he went,
yeah.
He's always been kind of a pain in the ass.
So it's interesting. I like how they write this. Prestige and fame. So Guns N' Roses. So when they filed this complaint, Oscar Blues of intentionally trading off its goodwill, prestige, and fame by selling the Guns N' Roses since early 2018 and confusing beer drinkers into thinking the band was connected with the ale. Are you really like that confused?
That is some lawyer talk right there.
Yeah, that's reaching if I've ever heard.
I also like how they're giving him a verbal beatdown in the thing.
What do you mean?
Because that's from like the complaint that Guns N' Roses filed. So they're saying that this company gave up their integrity to do this. Like, easy there.
So according,
you always know it's kind of a frivolous lawsuit if they start off with like like trying to either talk themselves up or beat down the other person.
That's how it always happens.
Which is what it always is. Yeah.
I mean, isn't there a similar case with Stone?
Oh, of course.
your favorite?
Oh, I don't know if I have a precedent for this kind of anger.
But basically, according to court papers, they sued and abandoned both the application to trademark this and any further use of the name. But the company says they're going to keep selling it through March of 2020. So I guess if that's a win for them.
Taking a stand. It is cool that they actually mentioned in here that as of 2018, there's 7,300 craft breweries in the U.S.
Up 93% from 2014. So, yeah. That's what I'm saying. These shits are growing at crazy rate, and there's no way you're not going to have, with 7,300 breweries, like how many people are going to have IPAs, and at some point a lot of craft brewers are suing each other because somebody might come out with Powder Dream somewhere else and be like, why are you taking my name?
Right, what if someone makes a beer called Drink This Beer and Play a Game?
Fucker, we're suing.
We're suing the shit out of them.
We got a lawyer.
How dare you, sir?
We have a lawyer on retainer. So... yeah, Guns, that's not a good look. I mean, are they hurting?
No.
Do they need to do this?
No. But it's also not surprising considering Axl Rose. So I'm not saying he's the one behind doing it, but no.
He's involved for sure. So,
we'll get to another story about protecting intellectual property later too.
So let us know what you guys think. If you think it's dick move, you understand it.
Like, I get it, but
I mean,
come on.
There's no doubt they're using the name cleverly, if you want to call it that. But, like, is that really helping their sales?
Yeah, what are you going to get? Some
random Guns N' Roses fanatic?
Some 45-year-old guy to coming in being like, oh, I got to get this beer. Who gives a shit about Guns N' Roses? It's 2019.
Yeah.
Appetite's a good album.
Thank you, Jim.
It's a great album. Not a bad song on it.
The Guns N' Roses is a good band.
Good band.
I'm not going to say.
Chinese Democracy, even that was good. Was it worth the wait? I don't know. Who's to say?
Can we move on?
Probably.
Thanks, sweetie. All right. So, Jim posted another one, and this is actually pretty new, from newsarama.com, and that Sony is planning to form a production company called PlayStation Productions that will adapt Sony's video games for TV and film.
Oh, boy.
You know what? Not the worst idea I've ever heard. I don't think it's going to go tremendously well, but if they team themselves with a legit production company or whatever, I wouldn't mind. I mean, we've talked about bad video game movies, and that's usually the norm. There's very few that turn out good.
Right.
If you can do it legitimately, I won't mind it.
See, Sony's kind of had an up and down with its licensed products in recent memory, too. Mm-hmm. Like, all the... I forget if it's them or Fox who owns all the, the stuff that Marvel can't do themselves right now. Like how Marvel had the basically borrow Spider-Man for Avengers and shit like that.
Yeah.
Or how I think Sony still owns Fantastic Four, and that's never worked out. And I think they still own X-Men, too, which has been up and down. So
which will go to Marvel, and then they'll redo X-Men and make it right.
Right, and then make a whole new blah, 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 blah kind of deal. So, yeah, I mean, it's like anything else. If you actually put some care and effort into it, yeah, it might be all right. Or if you go the route of like Warcraft and Assassin's Creed and shit like that and just try to appeal to China, be like, we'll probably bomb in America, but we'll make it up in China.
Yeah.
Which is a model that works.
Well, okay, so you're a nerd, and we're both nerds, but what I'm saying is you're someone who gets real attached to source material, but I've also seen you heavily criticize things when they follow something to a T. You're like, fuck, that does not work for a translation.
Like Watchmen?
Yeah, so it's like, what would you prefer? Take Streets of Rage.
Just make it entertaining.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat, entertaining.
Entertaining to us, but you know it's a bad movie.
It's not that. The first one's not actually that bad of a movie, honestly.
Okay, so
now Annihilation, bad movie that isn't entertaining.
Okay, I agree with that. So
Street Fighter, bad movie that's entertaining.
But
Super Mario Bros, bad movie that's entertaining.
Okay.
Blood Rain, it's got tits, but besides that, not entertaining.
Just bad movie,
right?
Yeah.
Or even the Resident Evil movies. Somehow they made 17 of those, and they're entertaining. The first couple, at least, that I saw.
And they just like the series itself, they went really off the rails. But you know what? I'll be honest, it's a crazy action movie with
it's dumb.
It has
dumb
monsters.
popcorn.
Yeah.
Then it comes down to the fact that people take their fiction too seriously anyway, and then they just start bitching that it isn't up to some magical quality.
But Jim, like things like Ghost in the Shell was whitewashed and I mean,
exactly.
Here's my number one issue.
Alita Battle Angel has unrealistic expectations of something or other.
What I love is when people can't understand.
Star Wars is stupid now. Star Wars has always been dumb. You made the religion out of it.
Exactly. I just get pissed.
I am
when
on social media too much.
All about their IPs, and like you said, something. I'll use Ghost in the Shell because that's fresh in my mind, even though it's a couple years old. You're a studio who's going to invest crazy amounts of money. Of course, if you can get Scarlett Johansson to fucking play your lead, they're not going to give two shits about it's not true to the character.
Right.
As they're going to sell tickets. They need to make a profit. So what I do like is in this article, they're mentioning that like the people behind are the same ones who have been working behind PlayStation for the past 25 years. And that's what they're saying is that instead of licensing out these IPs to other studios, they feel better approaching it and developing it themselves because they're the ones who've been behind it. They're familiar with it. They know the characters and the community, which I'm more for. But what that will probably translate into is you have these people who are super video game and their nerdness for their lore, but they don't know shit about making movies. So as long as they get someone competent that they can entrust into making a good movie, script writers and shit,
just take it. Here's an idea for a movie for you, Sony. Here you go. Here's a freebie. Take one of your IPs like Twisted Metal. Focus on one of the more tragic characters like Roadkill or something like that. Make a movie along the same lines of Mad Max. Take all of your Sony money and throw a dump truck of it at Guillermo del Toro. There you go.
What about what was that movie with Jason Statham? They remade Death Race or
Death Race 2000, whatever it was. I forgot.
That's essentially Twisted Metal. So take do a big action star.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, don't try to make it super dramatic. Just so if there was a movie, assuming it could be done well, from the Sony franchise, what would you want to see an IP turned into?
I mean, any of them as long as you do it well. Like, you can make a fun movie out of fucking Uncharted.
I would want to see God of War.
Make it out of, God of War. That could be easy.
But
very easy.
The problem with God of War is you'd have to dump
the sex games?
A ton of money into it and make the sets impressive, so it's not just super shitty CGI.
You'd probably have to go with the more recent God of War because it isn't as, like...
Yeah,
the more ridiculous, like the Roman theme from the original ones, or whatever the theme was.
Greek. God damn it, Jim.
Whatever.
Well, the Nordic ones would be interesting though, because you still got giant ass dragons.
Do it in the forest and save money.
So anyway, yeah,
Not wrong.
I don't think it's the worst idea. I'd rather have people behind it who are truly passionate and care about it. Just team yourselves up with some goddamn industry people.
You just hear video game and movie and then Sony with IP and then you go, oops. So
Exactly.
who knows? Hopefully they make it work.
Yeah. So let us know what you think about that, guys, because we know most people generally hate it, but I'm trying to be optimistic about seeing some potential good IPs turning into movies.
It'll be nice. It'll be a nice change of pace. So we are bringing back a bit this week. This is one we haven't had in a while. It's been a couple podcasts.
Oh, God damn it.
Bringing back weird gaming items. And I was lucky enough to stumble onto this one. It comes to us from a little site known as Vice.com, which normally Vice lets me down in a lot of ways, but this is an old article from 2016 during the heyday of Pokemon Go.
God.
The couple who invented Pokemon Go sex toys to make you Squirtle. Yeah?
And the little subtitle underneath it. If you've ever wanted to shove Pikachu up your butt, your time has come.
I'm a little disappointed they didn't write "Come CUM."
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Brian, do you want to do you want to describe them as you see them, or as the article describes them from the people?
All right. So first, how about we both try and describe them, and then we'll read their descriptions. First of all, let me say I'm not really shocked. I'm actually shocked that if this is the first time.
I'm shocked it took me 3 years to find this.
Yeah, but from what I see, the dildos they're showing, that's Charmander.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so that looks like a paintbrush, essentially.
I was going to go candle with a big flame.
Yeah, the old style Christmas ones that had the bulb that you screw in.
Yeah.
The Bulbasaur kind of looks like a pawn piece or something with a piece of garlic on top of it.
Yeah, it does, with the little ball nub at the bottom.
Yeah.
Because you got to have the balls.
Squirtle's
interesting.
That's, once again, like, that. Now that looks like a pawn piece just with, like, a tumor. I don't know what else to say. Or it looks
Squirtle looks like those basic egg dildo or egg beater looking dildos with a friggin' thing on top of it. Like, it's got the shell on there for whatever reason, for ribbed for all pleasure. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the Pikachu butt plug is
a butt plug with a little Pikachu tail.
It's just a little lightning bolt. Yeah, so
you can go boing, boing, boing.
My thing is that the Charmander one looks like it would probably hurt a little bit.
The Charmander one looks like it'll hurt a bit.
Because
the Bulbasaur one looks like it'll hurt a lot. Because that's the widest at the top.
Bulbasaur is definitely, it's not for the faint of heart, but, you know, I could see that one working better than a Charmander one. And if you're listening to this or you're watching the big video, we don't have a picture up, like, click on the link. But this will definitely be a segment video, so you'll see the picture and you'll see what we're talking about.
And Squirtle almost looks like it would make a zigzag inside your tract in there. Because it dips down, but then you have the big thing up here. I'm just trying to think of the logistics here.
I'm just looking at the beds. They obviously staged a bed with like a nightstand.
Right, please, staged.
That looks pretty staged. That's like a realtor would do that shit. They got the shadow effect going. Come on.
All right, you got me with the realtor line.
Equi spacing between them. For some reason, I could just see that being your bed, Jim.
When I shared this with some people on Twitter, they were like, "Man, imagine if you put the Pikachu one in the wrong way."
That would hurt. So we'll just go through some of the questions. But which toy has been most popular with customers? Peaky has been Peaky. I love that. That's its name. That's the most popular. What the hell?
That's another thing they've made. They've made other geeky sex toys.
Oh, they made Game of
So
Thrones.
this is just a.
So it's a company that specializes in making geeky sex objects.
Yeah, they put a giant dildo on the end of a sword hilt.
It's Longclaw. Actually, Longfang. Jon Snow's sword, Jim. I know you don't watch it, but be goddamn respectful. Now, this is the one
Respectful of the show everyone hates now. Okay.
This is the one I was most interested in. Do you think Nintendo is aware of your toys, and what would you do to convince them it's in good fun? I have no idea if they know or not. I think this is how big Pokemon Go is. Probably more important things to worry about. So, we've talked about how goddamn ruthless Nintendo is. I am sure if they caught wind of this, they would shut that shit down.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there hasn't been some kind of cease and desist. Maybe there could have been since the fact. I don't know. It's an old article, but
maybe they just don't make enough money off it to I don't know.
They said in here that they were making a good amount of money off it. It was a hot seller.
So yeah. Anyone out there would ever consider getting these.
If anyone out there who's ever used these, that's who I want to see comment below.
If you use them, we need you on our podcast so we can talk to you about it.
And if you want to send it to us, our P.O. Box number is below, and Brian can use them. He can use the slightly used ones.
You handle the P.O. Box just like you use the penis opener, which you proudly keep next to you.
Oh, I do have a penis opener.
Yeah, so exactly. Don't even try, Jim. You know, this is a you thing all day long. It would be right next to your collection of your friggin' turbo.
Well, that's fine. I can record these podcasts with a butt plug in.
God.
Call me Peaky.
So, links below. If you guys knew anything else or heard about this, I'm not shocked. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm not shocked. I'm just disappointed it took me this long to find it.
Yeah. So
glad I could bring that one back.
Is this... What's this?
So the next one up is... It's kind of a request from some people, but... So there's a hashtag out there on Twitter. Mainly a Twitter thing. And it's called #SwitchLoots. So... It kind of goes back to the other... About 2 podcasts ago when I was bitching about people bitching about censorship in games and stuff like that. So these people... They celebrate when a loot game comes out on Switch. They can't wait for new ones. They act like it's some kind of win for gamers everywhere. You have games like...
It seems like it's primarily this game, Dead or Alive Extreme 3.
Well, Dead or Alive's up there. The Senran Kagura games are up there. Look up Panty Party. And look up the Collector's Edition.
See, this says 1, 2, 3 and a bunch of scribbles.
Right. Oh, that's Ace Attorney. That's just a Japanese.
So you get it.
Thank you.
Then this one.
That's Galgun. I forget what the actual gameplay of that is.
So, essentially, it looks like any of those anime, and I know you're going to know the name off the top of your head, that style, that if it has a female on the cover, they consider it Switch lewd.
Yeah, but here's Panty Party. We'll throw a picture down here. The Collector's Edition comes with an actual panty. These are the people out there who buy these friggin' waifu body pillows and...
They would probably get the Pokemon sex toys, too.
Here's my thing. Whatever happened to shame? Why can't we have a little shame here? I'm a guy. I own Strip Fighter 2 for the TurboGrafx. And you know what? It's not like I'm walking around going, oh, this is a win for America right here that I can import this. Like, there's accounts dedicated that all they talk about are lewd games and how much of a win it is for people.
I'm kind of pissed at this one. It's a bunch of PS2, Blu-rays, PS3, Wii, Xbox 360. It's not even a goddamn Switch game on there. And they put Switch lewds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the cowboys with fighting, sword slashing all the zombies. At least makes
sense of it. But, okay, so what you're saying is these are basically people who are reveling in the fact that they can get these for Switch, and they're probably just the biggest perverts that there are. Is that fair?
I mean, it's pervy, but like I just don't get why they think it's such a win. Who wins? Who benefits? It's like Identity Crisis when Batman had to figure out who when he had to figure out who killed Sue Dibney. Who benefits? That's the question. That's the first question in problem solving in detective work.
Jim, please don't a goddamn stupid hashtag that's populated by maybe 100 people tops to goddamn Batman.
Look, Brian. Even Batman couldn't figure this out, all right? It
doesn't take much. It's...
Like, with the internet, there's an audience for everyone. But, like, Panty Party, he's looking at gameplay right here. It's basically Virtual On, but the characters are panties. So, Virtual On's a good game. I'm sure this game is only...
What pisses me off is I'm watching this video, and this is something I could see you playing, but like, it's actually pretty fun. Like, I could see you defending this game.
For all I know, it could be fun. Virtual On's a good game. Good thing to copy. But you're probably taking shit games that you need to throw a gimmick on just to try and ensure more sales, because if not, it would be painfully average.
Yeah.
But even then, why are you proud? What the fuck is wrong with you people? Why do you care so much? These are people who are fathers. These are people who have, like, actual lives outside of it. Like, just jerk off to degenerate shit on the internet like a normal person. Don't go flaunting it. When I delve into the deepest corners of X Hamster, I'm not copying it, taking a screenshot, and putting it on my goddamn Twitter.
Maybe you should, Jim.
Maybe I should goddamn start. Maybe there's some fat granny video out there that everyone I think we should know about, and I'll put it as, I don't know what I would call it, but...
All right, can everyone who has weird stuff like that, like Jim, do Jim Ludes? Hashtag Jim Ludes.
Hashtag Jim Ludes.
And you know what? Hashtag Blub Ludes. Can you do that?
Do Jim Ludes, please.
Please do that for me.
And let me see what you think I would like, and I probably would.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not like I'm going around. Why? Why are you proud of this shit?
Is it pride?
What are you winning?
Is it pride or
like, I get it. Nintendo was big on censorship, and now they're letting all this shit in. Okay. It's not like you didn't have any other platform before to get this shit on.
I am very out of this, so none of it makes fucking sense to me. But I don't know. To your point, man, and it seems like there's one guy. I'm not even gonna say the names. Actually, he's a buddy of ours.
Well, he makes fun of it.
So, yeah, if anyone has better knowledge, insight into this, please let us know, and make sure you copy Blubludes.
But it's like they're also like they're cocky about it. They're like overly proud. They like talk down to people who are like saying, "Why do you care so much about this?"
But is there any
the one guy on here is like, well, you see people trying to get rid of culture. I'm celebrating the culture coming over in America. No, you're fucking not.
Jimmy.
You want a game where you can look at underage panties, and that's what all the goddamn shit you want, and you just celebrate that. Just say, I want to look at underage panties. Don't sugarcoat it, goddammit.
Is there any, you're the Twitter guy, so I will defer to you on this, even though I know you're not too smart with it. Is there any chance that majority of the people doing that are trolls?
Oh, there's a ton of trolls even. And if you look up the hashtag, half of the thing's going to be trolls trolling the people who are actually being serious about it.
So I'm saying, could someone be voicing the opinion of someone who's serious, but he's actually just being a troll?
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of people who do that.
I don't doubt there's actual legit just scumbags. I'm just saying the majority of the ones you're seeing, just like we've seen so many times people like spreading hate or whatever, it's like the ones that like get the most attention are the ones that aren't even taking it serious.
Right, of course.
So is that possible?
No, of course that's possible. There's a lot of them on there probably like that. A lot of the posts I see on here are from friends of mine who are doing that exact same thing to shit on these people.
Yeah. People are fucked up, man. Just get your Pokemon butt plugs and...
Yeah. Get your Pokemon butt plugs. I would have more respect for that.
And play your Switch, like most people do with Pokemon butt plug. And send us your Blubludes.
Why do you need to get a panty as a pre-order bonus for your goddamn game?
Jim, is the issue that people want it or that someone's actually selling it?
Both.
This is like the gun debate. What's the issue? The people that want it or the people that are selling it?
There you go. Both again.
So, that was interesting, Jim. I'll say that.
Just something I had to get off my chest and rant about.
Are you trying to come out that you want a pair of those panties, Jim? Is that what is that what all this
Link
was?
to the PO box is below. So if you want to donate that to the show, I will I'll review anything you send to us. There's a can of worms right there.
Yeah, send that stuff to Jim. That's right. All right. Back to a more normal topic. Eurogamer.net, Nintendo squashing the Super Mario Commodore 64 port, which took 7 years to make. I saw this. I read a little bit into it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like that was being made back in the day and they found it. It's someone took the time to try and make it now.
Yes, someone who's a big Commodore fan. I think it was a team of people. They took the time, took them 7 years to do it, and how it looks is actually pretty impressive. Like, it's got good scrolling, which computers definitely are not known for.
Yeah.
It looks like the game. It sounds like the game. Like, people put legitimate love and time into this, and Nintendo finds out about it, and they just put it away.
But here's my question.
It wasn't even made for, like, sale. It was just made as a fan project.
So that's my question. So
at least I believe so. I don't think they were selling it. I don't think it got far enough for them to sell it.
As someone who's taken time and put effort into things that I know either get copywritten or whatever, I'm all about passion projects. But if you still have the copy for yourself, and let's be honest, peer-to-peer shit you're still going to do, if you can't sell it or at least mass market it, does it matter that Nintendo did a squash on it? Because at the end of the day, I don't know how they did it. It does look pretty impressive especially for a Commodore 64 from what I'm watching right now.
Yeah.
But it's like, did you do it with the intent of trying to sell it, or did you do it with the intent just because you are a huge fan? Like, if you're just a huge fan and you don't really care how many people get to it, you still put it on YouTube, you still let people see it, send them the file, whatever you gotta do. But as we said about Nintendo, they shit on everybody who has this stuff, so it's not shocking.
Apparently not butt plugs.
Not yet, at least. I don't know. To me, it's same old hat for Nintendo being shitty.
Right. I just think it sucks that these guys put so much time and effort. And this is another thing that's going to come down probably like that another Metroid remake, which was the remake of Metroid 2 that fans made before Nintendo released theirs on the 3DS.
So how does Nintendo typically react? Okay.
Cease and desist orders?
Well, I was going to say bad example, but we've seen a lot on
the fan hacks or shit like that?
AVGN or Cinemassacre where they make differing versions of, like, I know it's Konami, but Castlevania games.
Right.
Just harder difficulties, this and that. When things like that are made, do they almost always go after everyone? Or is it anything that gains enough traction?
I guess if it gains enough traction.
Interesting. I think
because there's tons of ROM hacks out there that people will consoleize or, cartridgeize and I think sell. And
yeah, so at the end of the day, it looks like these guys, they just are saying they had to take it down. But, like, once it's out there, it's never going away. It was distributed enough on Torrent Freak. It's been around. So, the damage, like, once you get that file out into the ether, like,
it's the internet. Cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. So, yeah, you might not. Now, if these guys were trying to get funded from their site and the hits to their site were getting downloads, that's where I'm like, okay, maybe you probably shouldn't have done it for that reason, knowing how Nintendo is.
Yeah.
I think if you're that fucking talented, you should turn around and make a new game. It's just, what would happen if they did make a new game, though? Let's say for the Commodore 64. Could Commodore come back and then say, like, no? Put the squash on them?
Selling
it kind of post now?
Depends if Commodore's even a thing anymore.
That's what I mean. So, it sucks, but once again, it's like, when you do anything with Nintendo and Nintendo actually, I'm always kind of like, yeah, that's pretty much what they do.
Take that risk.
It sucks. But no, it isn't as impressive as shit. And I do want to give these guys credit. The PDX Commodore Club. I want to see the YouTube channel for this.
Well, this is an LGR video.
Okay. Well, links will be below. But
we'll put a link to the article at least.
Yeah, it does look like the PDX Commodore Club, though. So, good job, guys. It does look awesome. Sucks that Nintendo's being themselves, but it's out there, guys.
And as guys with no real knowledge of the Commodore, looks impressive to us.
Yeah, but who cares about Commodore?
I mean, Commodore Americans kind of care about, so I'll give that a pass. We're not talking about like the shitty Spectrum or anything.
You mean the ZX?
Of course. What else would I be talking about?
Son of a bitch. Okay, so the next topic, it's one of our recurring bits. It might take a little bit longer, and it's something we've more or less talked about in the past, but I want to be a little more specific. Which is better, Marvel or DC video games? And I was thinking like from a genre to not overall encompassing.
Okay.
I kind of feel like when you hear that question, your mind usually might say like, well, obviously Marvel. But that's when I started breaking it down genre per genre, and I was like, it might be closer than you think. So starting with something we're very familiar with, like Go fighting games.
All right.
To me, DC wins out with Injustice. And obviously I know Marvel versus Capcom, widely popular, but
right.
Even you've played the Injustice game.
Yeah, they're excellent.
Yeah, so is there any debate that DC wins that simply because of that game alone?
I think they're better games overall.
Yeah, like... Once again.
And I love me some Marvel vs. Capcom, but then again, that's a Capcom-based thing that they threw Marvel characters onto.
Exactly.
What was that? Wasn't Children? Maybe it was Children of the Atom.
Children of the Atom was the first one.
That was like the actual Marvel fighting game that they had on the PS1 that was like, okay.
Yeah, that was kind of the one that sparked before like Capcom versus Marvel.
Oh, was that the one? I was thinking of the one that was like the 3D-ish.
Oh,
the
no, that was
2.5D.
the X-Men Mutant Academy.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of, yeah.
I liked it. A lot of people shit on it because it was that atypical PS1 era 3D controls.
Yeah.
It was rough, but I enjoyed the shit out of it because you got to do something. And as we played the older ones, really, like, there was that one, and I can't remember. Was it just called Justice League? Remember the one?
Oh, yeah, on SNES and Genesis, yeah.
Were there any
Justice League Task Force.
Yeah, was there any Marvel games like that from that era?
At the time, not that I can think of.
So I'm like trying to think, and I'm pretty sure they just didn't exist. Like, Marvel fighting games really don't.
Marvel was all about the side-scrolling, like either beat 'em up games or, well, mostly beat 'em ups, really.
Which, you know, okay,
but they were really good. You had like the X-Men ones, which were hit or miss. You had the Spider-Man ones, which were hit and miss. You had the Punisher one that people seem to love a lot, but it's mad expensive, so I'm not going to get that.
But hon, keep going genre. Let's say just arcade. Keep it to that. To me, there's no doubt Marvel wins that.
Arcade Marvel wins.
X-Men, Avengers, Punisher, like all of them,
they
win. Even side-scrolling.
I can't really think of a Batman arcade game.
There were, but they weren't as well known.
Right. Like the first one I think of is that Batmobile game we have now.
Yeah.
But like the Superman one we played and reviewed, it was okay.
It was fine. Like, yeah, it was fine. But to me, Marvel wins that. Side-scrolling in general, like you have the Batman ones from the Super NES and Sega Genesis.
Right.
Which were really good.
And the NES ones were good.
Yeah, but, no, that is true. But I still think, like, for variety's sake and just the sheer number.
Yeah, I mean, then you have like the NES Superman one bringing it down. But some of the Superman 16-bit games are pretty good for the side scrollers. Some were okay. Like straight up Superman sucked, but Death of Superman was okay.
So if you had, I would say from a console standpoint, if you're going side scrolling,
I think side scroller Marvel still wins.
Yeah, or even I would be willing to say, at best, a tie.
Okay.
Because the Batman ones on the NES, you're right, they are so good.
Yeah.
If you go individual games, like most of the things we're about to say, I think the Batman games always kind of help them elevate just a little bit.
Yeah, they do. It's not like you really had like you didn't really have other characters like for DC, especially back 16-bit.
For sure.
It was only Batman and Superman.
You never had a Flash. Well, you might have had some Flash games, but yeah, it was mostly Batman, Superman.
There was like a Flash Game Boy game.
But yeah, you had Spider-Man, X-Men, Hulk, Punisher.
Hulk's a bringer downer.
Avengers.
Captain America and Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, like, so you had...
Which is also an arcade game that got ported, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So then you go on to... I don't even know what you would call it, but think like...
More open worldy games?
Yeah, so you got like the Batman Arkham games, which
are
phenomenal.
Those are top notch.
But then also, like, I don't know if you ever had a chance to play the, like, X-Men Wolverine game.
I hear that one's really good.
That's really
I never got to play
that. The Deadpool game is actually really fun. So, I would still say the Batman ones, like, they kind of wipe
Yeah, but then you also have, like, Superman Returns, which we liked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And even the Superman Xbox game.
But you could also throw in Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Hulk Ultimate Destruction was one of my favorites.
And I don't know... Would you throw that Punisher game as open world? Like in the sense of the argument? Because what else are you going to compare it to?
That's just like, that's a weird one on its own. Like third-person action
shooter. I would almost have to I would just if you want to.
I would say that would almost be that would almost be more towards like Arkham Asylum, where Arkham City became more open world sandboxy.
What if we just say, for the sake of the argument, 3D action games?
Okay.
Yeah, so that way you can include Punisher, Wolverine, Deadpool, all those. The question is, and the only way I think it tips in Marvel's favor, do you throw the Legends game?
I was about to ask where you throw Legends and Avengers.
That's so unique, because if you do team-based games, obviously Marvel wins, because you had that like one or two Justice League games and that one bombed. I never actually played it. Remember that one I was trying to get you to get? I was like, hey, this one, it got terrible reviews. It was like the Justice League team-based game. It came out like around the time we were in college.
I can't remember, because I know there was a Justice League Game Boy Advance game that I think was mainly based around the Flash that was supposed to be pretty good. But I can't remember this one.
Let me look it up. But so that's where if you did include those games,
Oh, Justice League Heroes. I vaguely remember that. Did that actually come out?
It did, and it got some rough reviews.
I remember that getting kind of torched to hell.
So I guess my question is, the Arkham games, especially the early ones, to me, like they were like, holy shit, like that's the best Batman game. It hit it so well. But once again, if you go variety of styles, you get that Wolverine game, which is just crazy fun. You get the Punisher one, which is super violent.
Right.
You get the Deadpool one, which is funny, but actually a really fun game, kind of almost like a Devil May Cry.
You get the Spider-Man games like you have now.
That new Spider-Man game, which
or the Spider-Man 1 and 2 from the GameCube era.
That's where I'm like, is it a tie, or do you give it to Marvel because of variety?
Right. What about Iron Man?
That's a game I still don't know how.
Or those bad Thor games that came out then.
And even a Captain America. I still don't know how they're coming out with an Iron Man VR game for PS4. Iron Man should be such an easy game to make a good game for. How the fuck have they not done that yet? I just don't get it. Like,
I think they're overcomplicating it. Just make it a fucking.
That's what I mean.
Make it a shmup.
Something to that effect. If the VR works out and like it looks like you're in a suit, I can imagine that being pretty fun.
Right.
But then you have to rely on everyone having VR, which not everyone's there yet.
Right.
I'm trying to think. Like in that case, the Batman games are so good, but because of variety, I might have to say Marvel.
Yeah, because, I mean, there was that awful Aquaman game on the GameCube.
And as we said, we do like the two big open world Superman games.
Yeah, they were good.
They were fine.
Yeah.
But if you throw in Hulk Ultimate Destruct, like...
Yeah, I mean, Hulk Ultimate... I mean, yeah, and then, like, the game based on the Hulk and then the other Hulk movies, which kind of copied it, but they were okay.
But, man, you throw in Ultimate Alliance, to me, holy shit.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
And so if you kept it to individual characters... I haven't played the newest Spider-Man, but man, Spider-Man games I think could rival
Spider-Man games. Spider-Man games probably can rival Batman in the overall.
I'll probably have to give it to Marvel strictly because the variety you have and how many different characters. Because of Wolverine, because of Deadpool, because of Punisher, give it to them. You
can definitely get a lot more good games out of a lot more characters as we've gotten.
So I'm trying to think, and then you could do the MMO games, but they're, I would say, a wash.
Well, yeah, I mean, or the Justice League or the DC one was here. DC
was, I think, a little more popular.
That was definitely more popular. I can't even remember the Marvel one. Marvel hadn't.
They did, yeah, but it was basically
DC lasted a while.
It did, but that was also at the height of I think MMO.
Yeah,
mania, so.
And it kind of copied City of Heroes too, which had already been out for a while.
So yeah. I'm trying to think, is there any genres we're obviously missing?
Because there's like no real unless you count the Punisher one on the NES, like no real first-person shooter ones.
Well, they did have the Punisher for PS3, which is no longer available anymore, which was more of a arena shooter, but it was an exclusive for PS3. You can't get it anymore. It sucks, but I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's no other first-person shooters. Well, no, I'm sorry. Batman Imposters, Gotham City Imposters.
Oh, yeah,
super fun, Call of Duty-ish, but, like, very jokey. So I guess from that standpoint, you got to give that to DC.
Yeah, that was almost weirdly like the Team Fortress-y kind of.
It was so yeah, that game is still fun as shit. I love playing that. What else do we have?
I'm having a hard time trying to think other genres.
Because, I mean, honestly, yeah, there's not, like racing games.
I was about to say racing games. It's not like you really have them. Obviously, you don't really have superhero sports games.
Yeah.
RPGs? Do you really have superhero RPGs besides the MMOs we talked about?
Not really. So, I think Marvel wins at the end.
Yeah, I might have to go with Marvel.
DC is, I think, the point of this was, I think DC's closer in the picture than people probably give credit when you break down the way we just did.
Right. You just got to go deep into like the libraries of all the heroes.
It's also very Batman heavy. The only reason
it's very Batman heavy. Like there's some good Superman ones, but it's very Batman heavy.
Yeah. So sound off below. Let us know what you guys think. If you think we're completely crazy or you just basically agree with us.
Yeah.
Because we're right. All right. So the next topic, I'm going to let Jim start off with. It's from Kotaku, which...
Good old Kotaku.
No matter how you feel about them, they give us some entertaining topics to go over.
Fucking Jason Schreier, bitching and crying about not getting goddamn, oh, we didn't get our Rage 2 code. Or that article that the one person had from Polygon, I think, bitching that it's the models in Rage 2 were promoting cleft lips as deformed monsters.
Just like...
Don't make me say...
Yes.
Don't make me say Gaming was right. Because you can't say that because you have fucking Sargon as a face of it, so you obviously can't do that. But Jesus Christ, people.
It's ridiculous.
Picking at straws, grasping at straws here. But back to the topic here.
All right, Jim, so go ahead.
Here are Magic the Gathering cards that cause cheating allegations. So this was apparently a big scandal at a recent high-end Magic tournament. And basically, he had these little notches in the bottom corners of some of his more special cards. And I've been out of Magic for a little while, so like I think I was around when Eldrazi first started, but that's when I kind of checked out.
So it's Urza's Power Plant cards, it looks like.
Urza's Power Plant, whatever that card does.
Urza's Tower.
So an Urza deck, I will say.
Yeah. Urza.
And yeah, they had these little notches either in the bottom corner or the top corner. And Urzatrons and not Urzatrons. So I don't know.
So in the
they have them all stacked up.
Yeah, we're trying to see what the differences is. But essentially, to Jim's point, it seems like the article's pointing out the guy's
playing dumb.
He's like, I don't know how they got marked. Now, here's the deal. Any card cheater, no matter what card game, whether you're in a casino, whether you're doing Magic, people are going to try to find ways to cheat. These indents on his card...
And I mean, I know Magic nerds they're religious. Like, every card's in a sleeve, every pack's in a case and shit like that, so...
Yeah, like he's got some of these in the pictures you'll see in the link below. He's got like the ends kind of peeled off. The other ones are specific indents at the bottom.
Like no high-level Magic player is going to just care about their cards so little that they turn out to look like this. So
you think for sure it's definitely cheating?
I think there's definitely fuckery going on here.
So I'm trying.
Again, I don't really care. We're going to bring up the... we have some long-winded statement from... Watanabe or whatever his name is.
So, yeah, most people think that the guy did cheat. There's a weird coincidence that these sleeves are marked. And then potential collusion of someone who was trying to get this person disqualified.
Right. Oh, yeah, so now that there's like a conspiracy that like maybe a bad judge or something was like out to try and get this guy. Why?
Is it possible? Sure.
Could be.
I mean, without knowing anything about Magic, you knew more, but these type of high-level tournaments, how much can you win?
You can, I mean, if you get first place, you can probably win a couple hundred to a couple grand, depending on the severity of it.
Okay, so that's not exactly the type of... So you saying that, so you're not talking 50K.
I don't know, because I don't know Magic tournaments as well, but maybe if you're at, like, the World Championships of it and shit like that, like, you could probably get at least 10K.
So that's my point. Like, for those dollar values, is it truly worth it to cheat?
But this is all they do, though.
I know.
Like, this is their job. Like, going tournament to tournament is...
And I guess, like...
And they get sponsored to do it, and they get more sponsorships as they win. Shit like that.
But if you were... Okay, let's say, best case, you win 10K. Maybe you could win more. How much you think you got to bribe a ref in that type of situation for something like this? For him to try and do some shit?
That's a good question.
Is it half? Is it $1 grand, $2 grand? Like,
I don't know. I got to put on my Alex Jones tinfoil hat for this one.
I just, I do love that.
I love that we're seeing more of these random ass stories from these tabletop tournament kind of things. Nothing will ever beat "Don't Be Stinky," but just a level of rage and like just nitpicky. Like I'm curious to know how they figured this out. Like, I wonder if like some other player was so gazing at a guy's hand and he's like sees the light reflection coming in these little divots or something.
It's either that or the guy must have been on a hot streak or something. Like something oddly must have been like he keeps getting these cards because you know what? And you can vouch for me for this. No matter how hard I try, things I keep, unless I don't open them or go near them, they break, they rip, they whatever.
You're kind of destructive with
rough.
things.
The one where the pieces are peeling back, I could easily see myself doing that.
Right.
Where they're showing it there too, where there's like dents in the card. This little tougher, where you got dents in the bottom of the card.
And these are in the bottom of the sleeves too. Yeah, it's not just the cards.
They're pretty precise marks. So could I buy that it's just a weird coincidence? Sure, but I also think people just cheat.
Yeah. Any high level of gaming of anything, people are going to try and find ways to cheat.
Yeah. So for any of you who have more information or know anything about this, or maybe you've seen it, I mean, Jim, you probably weren't watching it enough when you did do these type of tournaments. Yeah.
I only went to a few Magic tournaments, and they were... Oof.
So at the end of the day...
There were some interesting boys there.
Would you say at the end of the day, you should just not play Magic?
I would never say that.
Just play it online.
Ah, yeah, you could play it online.
You're Planeswalker, Jim.
I love me some Planeswalker.
Whooped your ass.
You didn't whip shit.
Whooped that ass.
Your goddamn lies.
All right. So the next topic comes to us through Twitter from Intellivision that Earthworm Jim is coming to the new Intellivision console.
Yeah, so Tony Tallarico announced months ago that they're making a new Intellivision console, which is going to kind of be like, it's going to be a throwback console, but it's also going to be like a budget console. Like, games aren't supposed to go over like $8 to buy them and shit like that.
Interesting.
So they put out, and this is an old story at this point, it's probably a couple weeks old, but basically they're saying the original Earthworm Jim team's coming back to make a new Earthworm Jim game. That's going to be like the killer app for it.
Here's my question. Without knowing a ton about the Intellivision, is Earthworm Jim the type of game that could be adapted for that?
No, but I mean, this is going to be like, I think the new Intellivision console is kind of geared towards almost kind of like what the Switch does a lot with like a lot of the indie games. So I think it's going to be powerful enough that it can run a certain level of game, but it's not going to be, if you're trying to keep it cheap and trying to keep the games $8, you're not going to have AAA stuff on there.
Gotcha.
So this is going to be like a more family-focused, budget gamer alternative to stuff that's out there.
Just a cheaper version of Switch.
Kind of, in a way. Except fully consoleized and stuff like that. Now, of course, you're getting the controversy because people are bitching that Doug TenNaples back, who's the guy who made the original design for Earthworm Jim, and he leans heavily to the right, so people think he's a Nazi asshole. So they're saying, well, I'm not going to support this. It's
okay, don't support it.
Don't support it. And just think, did that ever make it in the original Earthworm Jim games?
Yeah. If you okay.
So he's also, TenNaples also coming out with kickstarting, which got funded and then some, a new Earthworm Jim comic to tell the story between the games. Or maybe it's an origin one or something like that. So
if the guy who created Earthworm Jim is trying to find an avenue to release, I'm sure he could find bigger consoles. But if he's willing to go and support this,
along with all the other people who helped design it,
that's what I mean. Like, just let them do it. Like, stop.
I just think it's cool that, like, for a series that's been as dead as long as Earthworm Jim's been, and the last two titles in it weren't good. So if you have the right team behind it and they can make a good game, this could be like, there's also the people who are bitching that it's only going to be on the Intellivision Amico and calling it a dumb idea to just keep it on there, which the point of them having it on here is to be a reason for you to buy the Amico.
Yeah. They gotta find titles to entice you. If they're just
if this was on the Switch, you would never buy an Amico.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be like, oh, here's another version of Centipede. Like, or River Raid. Nobody likes those fucking games.
Damn it. But I knew that was coming. But it's just a thing where, like, this is the argument again of people who always bitch about exclusivity and crap like that, too. Like, you don't understand business. You need to have a reason to buy something.
Exactly.
So this is cool. I mean, I don't know how much the Amigo is supposed to sell for, but if I was ever going to take a flyer on it, seeing Earthworm Jim's like, hey, there's a cool reason. At least I know I'll have one game I'll probably like.
Yeah. Yeah, you get a few more like that, and
like they said, if you keep the games at $8 a piece, like,
there's that's, you don't lose out on something like that.
Right.
Assuming the console isn't.
There's so many quality games on like the Switch eShop, a ton of shit too, but a ton of quality games that are $10 or less on there. So if you make another home for something like that and you make it even cheaper because you're not paying the Nintendo tax, which triggers some people for whatever reason, it could be a win-win kind of deal.
I'm looking at the Amico now, and it looks like they're using old school iPods for controllers.
I mean, it does kind of have that look.
Interesting.
It's got a wheel touchpad kind of deal, like the old one had.
They're trying to stick with that like 80s futuristic retro look while trying to be sleek and.
Yeah, like I still think it's not like I don't think it's gonna be successful. Because,
probably not.
Like I don't think there's gonna be enough boomers out there who love the Intellivision that are gonna go out and get it just for that. And it doesn't have the name recognition in the hardcore stuff of like Atari. Like
it's also know your expectations. Like not everything needs to sell like the Switch.
Right.
So if you're fine with selling,
like I think if the Amico sells like 5 million units over its life, but it's a budget console and doesn't cost that much to make, as long as it's profitable, then good.
If they're doing it because they just legit love it, just like we talked about with the Commodore 64 dude who made Super Mario. Then who the fuck cares? Like,
right.
You're doing it more for yourself, like to be like, oh, I'm making these things. So,
But yeah, no, I just think it's cool to see that the original team's coming back for it and they're behind it. Like it seems like there's love put into this.
That's all you can ask for, Jim. A little bit of love.
Yeah.
All right, Jim.
All right, this is another bit. Recurring bit. Last topic for today.
Yeah, so Jim's terrible decisions. And
for once, it's not something I bought.
You know, I was going to be on something he bought, but I said, let me throw something else out there. And I'll have to explain it, do some prefacing, but Jim's Twitter responses. And what I mean by that specifically is that Jim runs our Drink a Beer Play Game Twitter. So if you're conversing with Drink a Beer Play Game on Twitter, you're basically conversing with Jim.
Yeah, like 99% of the time.
Yeah. And if you're talking, like the only times I will ever sign on to ours is literally to be like, watch our video on YouTube. Like it's never to answer someone. So when Jim gives answers, if you say like, what's your favorite game of all time? What's this? Or what's your thought on this? You're getting Jim's answers, which are most of the time very terrible. So that's why today's Jim's terrible decisions is his responses. Now, what sparked this, and we won't go too deep into it, without having any context, Jim first put out the photo of ProJared and said, "This is my new phone screen background."
Being topical, poking the bear.
He was, which I didn't know at the time because it wouldn't be out of the realm of possible for Jim without. If the ProJared thing never happened, how it went down, it wouldn't be out the realm of possibilities for Jim to just put some stupid, silly shit like that up anyway. Like many people's Twitters, I think it's safe to say, our Twitter is more or less a billboard for our buddies. Right? Which is normal.
Yeah, we all help each other out and shit. It's a platform for us. But
then Jim throws his sense of opinions on things. So you'll get a lot of random wrestling shit. Drives me fucking nuts because he has his own wrestling Twitter response,
which I never touch it. Well, why don't I use the one with 500 followers when I have one with 10,000 followers?
Exactly, and he's spouting his terrible like if he's like
you're just mad that I say Gold Dust a lot.
So there you go. So Jim will write things like Gold Dust. I'm like, I don't want that representing us because they're terrible decisions. And Jim, from our fans, from everyone who watches us, generally makes decisions that no one agrees with, as opposed to some, you know? So I did actually have the list, and I don't know where it is, and I'm really pissed.
Convenient, as if it even exists.
Oh, it does, because I think what I might have to do is keep it reoccurring, and maybe at the end of every podcast, in the credits or something, I'm going to start throwing up Jim's responses.
What did Jim say this time?
Pissed me off. But it was things like, best video game or games you don't like, and shit on games either I do like or putting out games that are just fucking awful. Like if he one more time, you son of a bitch, put out there like, oh, my favorite game of all time is Rocket League. You found a game 4 years ago tops, you still suck at it, and you
never said favorite, said it was a perfect game.
Exactly. That pissed me off to no end. It is not a perfect game. It's a fun game.
Perfect game.
And the point is, Jim is also wildly inconsistent because we've had lists on our Excels when we track things of what's our top 10 favorite games. And I've seen Jim answer this thing 1,000,000 times. And he can't seem to keep his goddamn list straight, even though he's using the same 5 or 6 games, essentially, in his top list. So, yeah, Jim's answers, if you're following our Twitter, don't represent both of us. I think Jim needs to start putting a little asterisk saying, "This is Jim," because Goldust is not a good wrestler.
You're right. He's fantastic.
He's a goddamn. You just like a weirdo.
A character, which wrestling desperately needs these days. Everyone's got one name where they just act like themselves. It's boring. Brains are in the toilet. You tell me, Bri.
And when Jim...
It was better with Duke the Dumpster.
And obviously, Jim, being the nut hanger off of Sega that he is, he'll either always choose that over anything Super NES or shit on Super NES.
As I should.
Or whatever.
I don't shit on Super NES. I just say that it's filled with babies who cried at Final Fantasy VI.
Yet, you managed to nut hug these Japanese specific Super Famicom ones, and you shit on Final Fight. I can't even say how many times, and now all of a sudden you're Mr. Pro Final Fight for the past couple weeks or whatever it's been.
I mean, Streets of Rage is still better.
And I'm like, you hate that game so much, but you're acting like you love it. So
I don't know if I ever said I hated it.
Oh, you like it's the most boring fuck. Why?
Look, so I will say, all it has over Streets of Rage is graphics. That's all it has over Streets of Rage. But
and control.
No.
It does.
No.
The grabbing is way better for the Super NES.
No.
It's way better.
No.
And this is coming from me who likes Streets of Rage better and who's better at it than you. So my point, we've proven that, Jim.
Nothing's
That's
proven.
just fact.
Nothing is proven.
Jim, do we need to look in the annals of our archives?
Look, when you take a guy's mane from him.
All I'm saying is...
I still have to do more work.
My point is... Stop doing terrible responses, because what was it? There was something you actually put me over the edge. I had to log in and delete your response because it pissed me off so bad.
I think it was a wrestling one.
Was it? It was something I was like, no, this can't go unchecked.
You bitched about something or other.
You said something. So for Jim's terrible decisions, this leads me to, in the future, I think I'm going to screenshot things that just drive me nuts.
Go ahead.
And we'll have to start pointing that out. There's a lot of it.
Go ahead. Do what you want.
Fucking Jim.
Numbers don't lie, Bri. 10.6 thousand people can.
Hey, Jim, how come that didn't get converted to YouTube?
I don't know. You run that shit mostly.
So, guys, you know, actually, one last. Well, we might as well dip our toes and touch on it. We're not going to go super deep. Did you at all, prior to all the scandal shit, were you actually a fan of ProJared?
No, I did like ProJared.
You did?
Yeah.
So here's my question. And I'm not trying to be a smartass because of this thing.
Yeah.
I've always hated him.
All right. Fair.
It just...
From what I hear, he's a dick in real life. Shocker.
Once again, I'm just saying from his videos, I knew nothing. I still know nothing other than my summarization is he cheated on his wife and he sent weird pictures of himself to underage people and requested their photos. That's what I got out of it.
Right.
What I'm saying is I tried to watch his videos and we might have had them because I think you might have subscribed through our YouTube. So they were popping up.
I at least would comment on them through our page.
So I think I was like, let me see who this is. And I would watch it and I was like, this guy is he's so, I don't even know the right word. Arrogant. There was something just very annoying about his videos that I was amazed that people watched them. And I was like, okay, Jim must like him for some reason. So what was it that you did like about his videos? And that's just...
It was probably a combination of the quality of the videos along with I shit on RPGs a lot and he talks a lot about them. So I'm not going to sit there for 60 hours and play through them. So if I want to know about something, I'll watch someone just talk about it. So he did a good job of telling the story of playing it and what the game's like and his experience with it, crap like that.
Okay.
So, obviously not the best YouTuber in the world, but a million subs, at the time.
No. His numbers before the crash, he was one of the higher successful.
He had just hit the million mark.
Yeah. You can't put PewDiePie in numbers like that to anyone.
No, obviously not.
But my point is, so he was one of in the top 1% of gaming YouTubers. Easily.
He was up there, yeah. There's so many gaming YouTubers, so he probably was top 1%.
Because what is... Angry Video Game Nerd, who we love, he got 2 million subs?
Maybe close to 3 by this point,
he's basically in that realm, which is, again, there's many we talked about before this podcast. I don't get the fame of some of them, but I was trying to figure out with him, is it he's basically just pro Nintendo, right?
Well, not just pro Nintendo. He's been around forever, kind of too. So he had the help of like he was big on Screw Attack for a while before he did his own channel. They did his own channel.
He was on Screw Attack.
Yeah,
which I like Screw Attack. A specific series from them. There was a few that I really liked. I just don't remember him, so maybe that's where
he was on one of their like roundtable shows or something. I didn't watch it at the time, so. And then he started his own channel, which got its own traction. And then he started his group with the Completionist and Peanut Butter Gamer and JonTron and all that shit. Gotcha. So you have that network of other similarly popular people. You all build each other up. Now somehow fucking Peanut Butter Gamers are like 15 million subs. I could be wrong about that, but like he's weirdly huge for whatever reason. And like at least the Completionist I can respect because he plays through games 100%.
Yeah.
Like, and from all accounts, he's a generally nice guy, so cool. And JonTron, love him or hate him, I find him entertaining. So he's just laughing all the way to the bank at this point with all this shit.
And I guess, I don't know, me and you are obviously different.
We have different tastes.
Super unscripted, super unprofessional. Except for the angry video game nerd, I find myself very turned off would be the best word for anyone that's too character-y.
Right.
A video games. Because to me, it's like you're all derivative of the angry video game nerd and some of those early guys if you're doing that shit now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why people like Peanut Butter Gamer, I kind of feel the same way. It's like,
I don't think it's so much a character with him. Like, he's got too much of, like, YouTuber face. Like, he's got that cadence. He's got that over-expressionism.
Whoa, guys, let's get, like, that type of shit.
It just reeks of phoniness to me.
Okay. So... yeah,
like you can tell like YouTuber face when you see it. Like that's why I can't like watch Markiplier or shit like that. Like it seems like it's just that style, and it's hard to really pin down. I guess, especially.
No, I know what you're saying. It is that
like I didn't enjoy PewDiePie's couple end of the podcast. Like I didn't start liking his shit until like I never liked his gaming stuff, but I love like. Pew News and meme review and shit like that.
Which is funny because I actually did strictly because he used to do not 100%, but mostly horror games.
Right.
So he introduced me to a lot of horror games. I was like, I didn't even know that was a game or, oh, that's a PC game I could download. When he got into, now he basically only does.
He maybe does a gaming game video once a week, if that.
So, and then like I used to show you some of his videos and you used to hate them.
Oh, yeah.
But now, like, I actually don't mind him. I still respect the fact that how many fucking videos he puts out on the regularity he does.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. The character thing that's always a general turnoff for me. Like if I'm watching someone, I'm like, okay. The phoniness, like you're trying to say.
Because I thought PewDiePie was a huge phony back during his like straight Let's Play days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like now with his stuff, he's just like laid back shitting on stuff.
Yeah, and
I'm like, oh, he's just like he's being himself now.
Exactly. So
for the better or worse at times.
But yeah, ProJared, I just had to ask you about that because I was like, was Jim actually a fan?
I think he reeked a little less of phoniness. Like I think there was really just like a legitimate ugly dork behind all of it that he portrayed.
I just felt like he was like so many dudes we went to school with in college. I just felt like he was.
He does reek of that. Yeah,
we're fucking nerds, and I'm not trying to take that away from us. He was just a dork.
Yeah,
like, and he's that guy that like would make a terrible joke, or like I was just like he would annoy you with like trying to fit in so hard.
Right, but like trying to fit in so hard while also not trying to fit in and like doubling down on your like dorky nerdiness kind of deal. But like being arrogant about it too.
But trying to be superior with like his knowledge of a fucking obscure RPG.
Right.
And you're like, okay, dude, like,
yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
It's a weird dynamic there with people like that in general.
So, the last thing I will say with him and me and you talked about is I could care less about the whole he cheated on his wife. Like, that's a shitty thing.
Like, the biggest bitch move of that whole thing was posting your statement about, oh, we're getting divorced, but, like, immediately blocking your wife after.
Of course. That's super shitty.
Like, no wonder she dropped the bomb on you after that. Like, that's just a straight bitch move right there.
Everything he did with the minors goes without saying. Even having a fucking 18-plus Snapchat and
then, like, the fucking... One, like, I don't think his wife is the smartest tool in the shed because, like, saying you have a Tumblr for body positivity with people sending you nudes, like, are you out of your fucking mind? And then it comes out that they possibly had a polyamorous relationship going on for years, so the cheating really isn't so much cheating in that grand scheme of things. Like, if you're going to sit here and tell me that, a professional cosplayer is going to be kind of self-centered with things, ooh, shocker.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I think they're both shitty people when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
And from depending on what story you read, like him getting the underage stuff, like he put bigger restrictions on the Tumblr pages when like he had some come through or shit like that, but like he also actively seeked out some. So he's probably a scumbag. He probably just is a straight scumbag. I think his ex-wife's dumb as hell, and like the girl he cheated on is like. Bleh.
But here's the deal, and it's a shitty.
And she was the ex-wife of a friend of his from his Normal Boots group who like left the group eventually. So.
But it's always a shitty thing to say, but it's true. Like the whole don't judge a book by its cover. Does it pass the sniff test? Like you look at that guy, and I'm sorry, that's not shocking.
No.
Like.
You take a dork who probably got largely ignored his entire life.
He probably was a virgin until he's 21.
Right. Throw a ton of money and fame at him, relative, in the YouTube sense. Like, no, I'm surprised this story got as much traction as it did. I guess just because of how juicy it was.
Slow day. And, well, he was from the old standard of, like, that group that you were kind of mentioning. Like, that old YouTube, like, vanguard, if you will, of, like, oh man, the only good ones left are like, for whatever reason. I loved how James Rolfe got tied in with him. He's like, he's the only good one. I'm like, that poor dude, like, don't put him in the same fucking sentence.
They start the Be Like James hashtag. Like,
yeah, I'm like, he doesn't want that.
Like, no, you don't want that because then something's going to come out. That's how it always happens. Don't put him on a pedestal. Yeah. Like, the moral of the story was don't put people on a pedestal and then you get Be Like James. Hashtag Be Like James.
At the end of the day, it's just one of those things. I'm like, don't be shocked. The people you watch on YouTube, they're shitty people like everyone else you know.
Yeah.
They do shitty things. They're secretive. Like,
unless you meet them and hang out with them a couple of times. Like, if you talk to someone on the internet, they're not your friend. No. They're an acquaintance.
And there are some, as we've learned, who are nicer than others.
Yeah, tons who are nicer than others.
Some think they're bigger than they should be. And others are like, dude, they're just regular, There are ones you could meet and be like, want to have a beer? And they'd be completely cool.
Yeah.
Other ones, they have a sense about themselves, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll meet them. You'll get turned off by people when you finally get around to meeting them and shit like that. Like, yeah. And you could just meet some people on the wrong day too. You never know. Or you hear stories about repeating.
I mean, you obviously know who I'm thinking of.
Oh, of course I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it wasn't. I didn't know enough about him, but I was just at first like...
I wasn't like, when I saw it, I wasn't hurt or offended. I just went, ooh, this is good.
My first thing is when I first saw it, I was like, so this is all because he cheated on his wife? I'm like, a dude that looks like that and acts like that, like, he'd probably be happy if anyone would touch it.
Right.
So, of course, he's going to jump at it. But then when it was everything else that came after, I was like, ew. So that's why the reason I had to go into this, and the reason I went into Jim's terrible decision is because Jim posted...
Because of the background.
I was like, why is Jim posting a goddamn picture of ProJared? And then all of a sudden, I saw the hashtags, and I was like, okay, he didn't just do it to piss... Like, and he doesn't even do things that piss me off, but he'll do
things that tangentially piss you off.
But you would have posted that kind of regardless had you found it, I feel like.
It's only now.
So...
Even I have my limits.
I don't even want to bother. If you guys want to comment below, you can. Obviously, this has probably been talked out ad nauseum.
Yeah,
we've said,
we probably won't even make a separate video on this one.
No.
Why?
So,
there's enough channels out there releasing videos every single day about ProJared.
Fucking reaction.
It's been from 2 weeks ago. Fucking stop.
The vultures who do the reaction videos, the YouTube drama. Man, I know you gotta make your money, but goddamn. But
dude, even beyond drama, I think like the commentary people are even worse at this point than the straight up drama channels.
Yeah.
Because the drama channels will at least put some work into seeing what the hell's going on here. I'm giving like fucking case in point, Keemstar. He had his phase of being the most hated guy on the internet. And now he's the guy people run to whenever they get their channels taken down and demonetized because he has pull with YouTube.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, Keem's still a piece of crap, but, meh.
Nobody stays hurt that long. Like, what was that one?
Pull a channel awesome. What Jared should have done.
I was going to say, they were the ones that tried to trademark. Who was
No, that was the Fine Brothers who tried to trademark React.
Which... I remember that was the first time I ever saw a thing of like people watching a channel lose subscribers.
That was like the biggest scandal on YouTube ever when that happened.
Yeah, and now it's like people are looking for that next one. Like I feel,
and you know what it is? Yo, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the amount of videos I see now of like live watch X YouTuber, whoever's in current trouble, watch their subscriber count drop. I'm like, don't you guys realize like that's a shitty thing to be too happy about? Like we all like to see a good fall story, rise story, but it's like if you become too obsessive with that, isn't that kind of like, yeah, you might want to evaluate your shit. It's fun to watch a shitty person fall,
right?
Without a doubt. But if you become too obsessive and that's something you're actively searching for, like YouTube drama, shit, man.
I just love that of all people, fucking DSP dunked on ProJared, and of course, goddamn Icarus flying to the goddamn sun. He does because DSP's been a joke in the community forever.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, oh, I'm going to do a live stream now and talk about all the criticisms people have had over me over the years. And it's just like, God damn it, you fucking idiot. Like, don't do that.
But those type of guys...
Pull Costanza and go out with your fucking good line.
But
the commentary people out there, I mean, like, they're like you said, they're all vultures. That's all it is.
You're picking... And that's why... And I know
that's why people, like, they hated Leafy, but then Leafy just evolved into these channels we have now that put some more effort into it.
And we've given enough credit, but I feel like still not enough. Is when you see people like Angry Video Game Nerd and shit who stays so out of it. He's just like, I'm just going to make what I make.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, I respect that so much more than someone who, like, you know what, I've never said anything, but now's my time to break silence. Like,
right.
I don't care how well you know YouTubers. Like, I don't know. That shit's crazy.
Especially when you do the I'm breaking my silence. You know you're doing it to get views and hopping on a thing. You're hopping on a trend too.
Yeah.
And actually, of all these like channels that have gone through these major scandals, like the smartest ones in the world are the one that just shut up for 2 weeks and then people move on.
Yeah.
Fine Brothers, channel awesome. I'm sure a ton more out there. Like, if you just don't address it, let people type what they want and let them hate you for 2 weeks, eventually they stop caring.
Which is why we're proud to announce Jim is going to become a titty streamer on
Yes, I am.
on Twitch. That was another hashtag. I was like, what the fuck?
Hashtag titty Jim?
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, you already got blubludes.
God damn it.
All right, guys. If you do have comments, let us know. But like you said, we know we're late with this. We haven't met in a while.
That's why this is going over 2 goddamn hours.
And like Jim said, we're not doing a separate segment. So
yeah.
If you heard this, if you listened, we appreciate it. Jim,
if you made it this far into a full podcast, and also keep an eye out for the guests we have coming on soon.
Yeah.
It's okay.
For $25 for 4?
No, not worth it. 25. It's tasted like every single other IPA out there.
It's a little more citrusy and has a little more flavor in some IPAs.
It's a little more drinkable. It doesn't have like the bitter aftertaste kind of deal.
$25 for 4 now. I'm sorry, Captain Lawrence, if whoever from you works there.
Not quite worth that.
It ain't worth it. Like, at least be a double IPA.
I mean, I don't know if this would quite go into Jim's terrible decisions right here, but...
No, because I at least respect the thought behind it. Because you're trying something new.
Right.
Jim might be evolving. Probably not.
Probably not. I'll probably have some shit
here
next
time. You'll buy
time.
some shit next week that'll piss me off to no end.
Over the weekend, I was drinking the England Gold. Not bad. Which
is fine. It's a good beer. But you go to a goddamn beer garden and you choose that. And
that was when I got the Chickies. That was not the beer garden.
So, guys, thank you as always. If you're supporting us, watching us, if you did enjoy any of this and you're still with us, please share it with your buddies. If you can, go to iTunes if you're not already listening. Make sure you review us. And until next time, guys, we will have some people on.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Cheers.